The day goes on as an entrepreneur. The day's supposed to be over, y'all, but gotta do what we gotta do. I had to make some last minute stops and actually had to clear out trying to clear off the back of my truck. I got some grass that I got from a job. Of course, after I used the side cutter, I didn't have some lawn bags with me. Typically, y'all, when I use that side cutter instead of like the mini skid steer, like there's so many ways to, I feel like, renovate a lawn. But for me, I try to think of the least, not to say the least effective, but the most effective that's less strenuous and that'll take time out of the job taking longer. So for me, when it comes to doing the grading for a property, like I like to remove the vegetation, right? And I can do that a few ways. You can use like a tiller. You can go through and just grind it up, or you can use a side cutter, depending on how big the area is. And if you don't have any like different type of elevations as far as deep spots and stuff like that, side cutter would work fine. You just cut like about 3/4 of an inch under the grass, so you're not getting a lot of that soil. You don't want the soil. You do not want the soil. It gets heavy, and if you got to bag it, you're taking a bunch of soil with you. So you can. That's one thought process with it. And then you got the bucket on the mini skid steer. Or you can use a Harley rake, which is my preferred method when I use the skid steer. I use a Harley rake on it. Of course, if you're doing a large project, decent amount of space, you can use an actual bobcat. Actually, a normal skid steer, not a mini skid steer. My favorite way of doing it is I like using a side cutter. I like using a side cutter because my goal is to really just get that vegetation out, and I'm not taking a lot of the soil out. And if I could just run through that yard about multiple passes, crosses, back and forth, different directions, I feel like you can use a fine rake. You can use a fine rake to get that vegetation, into a pile. You can get. There's a kids walking across the street, being mindful so I ain't holding this device while I'm trying to drive. Gotta be mindful of the kids, y'all. But you can use the side cutter and just rake up the vegetation, put it in a bag, and be done with it, right? That's one way to do it. I try not to use the skid steer all the time. Like I'm locked in right now. My buddy, he got a dump trailer, he got a side cutter, he got the skid steers. He said, Rod, whenever you need it, just get it. Holler at me and go pick it up. So I'm locked in, man. It feels pretty good to have people that, invested like that. I don't know if I need to actually do that because my primary goal is not to just do sod installation. I would more so probably look for machinery to help me run more efficiently as far as the weed control part of it. But anywho, my favorite way to do it is using a side cutter when it comes to removing a lawn. But when you remove the lawn, you gotta think of where am I gonna put this debris? Am I gonna put it in bags, put it to the road at the property? Am I gonna take it to my house and put it to the road, or am I gonna go to the landfill? You gotta think of the logistics of what it requires to get rid of that vegetation, for one. For me today, I didn't plan so well, and I just went by 2 stores and I could not find no bags. So I gotta get this stuff off the truck. I'm gonna put in a tarp at least until tomorrow or Saturday when I can actually get to it, put it in bags, and then I'll put it to the road or something. But I got to get rid of this vegetation. But I try not to practice that because it just creates more work at home when I'm supposed to be not working, and it keeps me busy. But you got to do what you got to do, y'all. Yeah, so I don't like using the skid steer all the time because you're unearthing a lot of the soil, and sometimes it's not necessary unless you have major dips. I can grade with the bucket. I say when it comes to my grading skills with a mini skid steer or skid steer, I would say I'm about a B. I'm about a B, a C plus, a B. because I see some guys that are really good at grading, and to me it's just time consuming. It's time consuming to move dirt and make sure you're putting it back in the way where everything flows. I can do it. It's just I rate myself a B or C because timing. Like, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm gonna do this over and over until I get it to where I'm absolutely happy with the way it turned out, and I know what to expect from what I did. So that's my thought process go in it. I don't like to unearth the soil unless I have to, and the side cutter, helps me, not do that. When it comes to the tiller, I actually haven't experienced much of the tiller. I've done it, but I think it does too much throwing around, and sometimes you run into material that's under that grass, and I don't want it to kick nothing back, but I don't know. I don't have the experience to say the tiller is my way to go, but it might work fine for some people. I see people use tillers to kind of grind up the grass and stuff like that before they move the vegetation out before they do a job. But that ain't my way. I'd like to use either a skid steer or a side cutter. And then to get around tight, small areas, y'all know I use the scuffle hoe, which is it's almost like it's a circle, and it has a rake, like a blade on the back where you can just move it under the soil and it uproot weeds and vegetation. So I use that. But let me know what y'all use for your grading process for lawns. But I definitely do like to use the bucket if it's a large property. Like, even though it's going to take me a while when it comes to moving material around and stuff like that, that's the easiest, most efficient, and less strenuous. It's just time consuming to get the grade correct. But I like it because I can go there, me and one other guy, and we can literally get this grade right, like as far as getting the vegetation out and also getting everything leveled out on day one, and then moving into day two, we just lay the sod down, and we can use the skid steer to move it, so people ain't completely using wheelbarrows every time. Because after a few wheelbarrows, but after you did about 10 wheelbarrows, you like, man, how many more pallets we got to go? But I'm gonna get to it, y'all. Gotta finish up for the day. Later.